I want to talk about planning funerals. There isn't a lot of information as much as I thought it would be. There's a good article by the FTC. The funeral fees include basic services, fees which include funeral planning, securing necessary permits, and copies of death certificates, preparing the notices, sheltering the remains, and coordinating the arrangements with the cemetery, crematory, or other third parties. Other services include optional goods and services, such as transportation for the remains, embalming, and other preparations, use of the funeral home for the viewing ceremony or memorial service. Cash advances are fees that the funeral home charges for goods and services it buys from other vendors on your behalf. Others add a service fee for the cost. The funeral rule required those who charge an extra fee to disclose that fact in writing, although it doesn't require them to specifically state the amount of their markup. The rule also requires funeral providers to tell you if there are refunds, discounts, or rebates from the supplier on any cash advance items. The funeral provider must give an itemized statement of the total cost of the funeral goods and services you have selected when you are making an arrangement. If unknown, they must have a written good faith estimate. Must most require must require that you purchase specific funeral goods or services. On embalming, many funeral homes require embalming if you're planning a viewing or visitation, but embalming generally isn't necessary or legally required if the body is buried or cremated shortly after death. This can save hundreds. Under the funeral rule, a funeral provider may not embalm using without permission, may not falsely state is required by law. This might also be better for the environment, but that's a whole different thing. If you just bury someone without a coffin or any funeral service, it's probably the best way for the environment. Must disclose in writing that embalming is not required by law except in certain special cases. May not charge a fee for unauthorized embalming. Must disclose in writing that you usually have the right to choose a disposition like direct cremation or immediate burial that does not require embalming if you do not want the service. Must disclose in writing that some funeral arrangements, such as a funeral with viewing, may make embalming a practical necessity and if so, a required purchase. Casket. For a traditional full-service funeral, the casket is a single most expensive item, typically metal, wood, fiberboard, fiberglass, or plastic. An average casket costs slightly more than $2,000. Some mahogany, bronze, or copper caskets sell for as much as $10,000. Funeral rules require that the funeral director must show a directory of caskets before any caskets because most people pick the first three shown, usually the second. Funeral homes must agree to use a casket bought elsewhere without charging a fee. Caskets don't last forever. They only delay penetration and rust. Some metal caskets come with a warranty for longevity, Pine caskets are less expensive but rarely displayed. Cremation. Most funeral homes give the option to rent a casket. For direct cremation, the provider must offer an inexpensive, unfinished wood box or alternative container. Funeral directions may not say that state or local law requires a casket for cremation. Must include in writing your right to buy an unfinished wood box or alternative container, and must make an unfinished wood box or other alternative container available for cremation. Burial bulletin grave liners are placed in the ground before burial. It prevents the ground from caving in and isn't required. Some cemeteries may require some outer burial container, but most of these costs are unnecessary.